The Utah Jazz defeat the Denver Nuggets by the final score of 127-120. An offensive, incredible performance. Defense late in the game by the Jazz. The Nuggets scored 41 in the first, 32 in the second, 26 in the third, 21 in the fourth. We'll be talking about with this guy right here, Ron Boone. He's back. He's in the fishbowl. I'm in my fishbowl. He's in his fishbowl. We'll be talking about it coming up on POSTCAST. POSTCAST is brought to you by our friends at Grip 6 Belt. Grip 6 at grip6.com. You can get these incredible belts with no flaps, no holes, and no mixed matches, and beautiful setups. You get the straps, and the belts are interchangeable. Also brought to you by our friends at Biograss, thebigyellowbag.com. Bigyellowbag.com. Use the promo code Locked On. You get $40 off. All right, Ron Boone, let me start with you. That was awesome.
Can you hear me?
We should be able to hear you, yes.
You can hear me? Okay.
You cannot hear because I don't have you plugged into anything.
All right. But before we get too deep into this ball game, let's talk about one defensive play that was made tonight, and it was by Rudy Gobert. He had 2 block shots, but any bigger than that block hook shot that he had on Jokic for the Jazz, that ended up Jazz getting a 3-point field goal out of it.
That was it's a great point. I don't have the play-by-play in front of me, but it was a key play. And did we hit a 3 going the other way?
I think we got a 3.
Wow. I mean, nothing else. It's actually, there's a great picture from the bubble where he actually gets a shot. He blocks Jokic in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing about Rudy on Jokic, and I know he had 43 against him earlier this year, is that the only way to deal with Jokic is to reduce his game. And so he does reduce his post up. Jokic doesn't try to play post up on Rudy. He plays at 15 feet. Now, the other night, hey, he had 43 earlier this year. I'm not about to try to make some claim that Rudy's stopping him in some way. But tonight, he doesn't play post up. You do take that aspect of him away. And without Jamal Murray, there wasn't we had defensive stops tonight. The fact that they can still do all the things they can do while you're taking about that tells you how incredible Jokic really is and how great Michael Porter Jr.
It really is, and it made the players out there on the floor just play great basketball. Paul Millsap ended up having a great basketball game, and that's a big lineup that they put out there on the floor. And I totally agree with you. Porter is probably going to be a star in this league.
He's going to lead the league in scoring at some point in time, probably.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about Bojan Bogdanovic. He has a career night, 48 points. His sincerity afterwards with the crowd was just amazing. I kept asking Ron, how long can we ride him? How long can we ride him? Well, we equally rode him the same way all night. He had 12 in the first. He had 13 in the second. He added on another 12 in the third quarter, and then he had 11 in the fourth quarter. I mean, that 48-point night, he just jump on my back and come aboard. I am carrying you to the 1 seed, and the Jazz, with this win, are much closer to the 1 seed than they were when the night started.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, what a great basketball game, but you'd like to see him get off to a great start in that first quarter like he's done so often. He only had 8 points the other night in the first quarter, but in the past, he's coming up with 14, 13, 10, couple of 3-point shots that really gets him going. But when he's making things so good for himself is the fact that he is starting to drive to the basket, getting those layups. He's now over 50% at finishing at the rim. So things are starting to come into play and really, really work for him because of that.
By the way, on that note, on Bojan at the rim, over the last 16 games, he's at 65% at the rim. Prior to that, he was at about 50% in the restricted area. So that's a monumental change. Obviously, the 3 was a large part of it. Ron, we've kind of had this running thing going on about the transition 3, and it's new to you, and now you've fully embraced it. But the Jazz are embracing it at a level that's really dramatic. I mean, I'll have to go back and look at it. They take 46 threes tonight. I would guess 10 of those 46 threes probably came in the first 6 seconds of the shot clock tonight.
I'm embracing it because that's the strength of this team. I mean, they have shooters, and there's nothing better than a shooter getting a wide open look. And that's what the Jazz are getting. And then you add to the fact that guys like Joe, I think Bojan's one, Jordan Clarkson's another, that can get those shots off very quickly. George Niang, he has improved in getting his 3-point shot off more of a catch and shoot how quick it is than he did last year. So you add that on to playing fast and the movement of the basketball. Absolutely. Yes, I am embracing it right now. What I won't embrace is if you got a 3-on-1 break and you pull up and shoot a 3-point shot.
We can debate this sometime because I actually have a debate with you on that. I understand 100% on that isolated possession, but if you're deciding that your entire philosophy as a team is that we are going to run to 3, then you run to 3. And sometimes it means your 3-on-1 break is a 3. But this team has decided that it runs to 3. And we saw it tonight, the pace early in the game. It's interesting. The possession numbers weren't astronomical. It felt like this incredible pace of play game. But I actually had the possessions in the first half at 51. It wasn't crazy. And then it was 74 in the end of 3 quarters. I haven't looked to see. I'll check right now what the final number was. The final number tonight was 98 possessions. So they slowed them down by the end of the night along the way. So that was a mammoth win. Coach Vince LaGarza jutting across the court right now, running back in the locker room after executing his scout perfectly tonight. He's got all sorts of fans everywhere. Sorry, we're just looking down the floor. All right, let's get to some of your questions here on the show tonight. Lots of people jumping in. A massive win by the Jazz, an incredibly fun night. Jeff says, congratulations, your boys can sling it. I'm guessing he is a Nuggets fan. That was a great game. If you're a Nuggets fan, you like that game too. I don't think it has a huge impact on the Nuggets other than they're trying to get to 3 instead of 4. But I don't know if they really care that much, actually, when it gets down to it, because if Dallas is 5, you might not mind being 4 along the way. And so I think, that's obviously a large part of it. For the Jazz, we haven't talked about this. They basically secured themselves 1 or 2 tonight. They won the season series from Denver. That's an unexpected win. So they basically have secured themselves 1 or 2. I think we need to start believing the Jazz team can actually win it. Go Jazz, says Garrett. Excellent win by the Jazz, says DJ. Playoff atmosphere tonight, says Mike. I think the coaches would have liked more defense. Bogey's back, says Andrew. Bogey was actually never gone. This is one of my favorite wins of the year. Awesome win. Hands down the best game of the year. Might have got us the 1 seed, says Joshua. I do think it might have got us the 1 seed, and I think it matters. Right now the 7 seed very well could be Golden State. We'll see what happens tonight or the 7 seed very well could be the Lakers, depending what happens with Portland and LA tonight. I feel like that first win over the top tier team in a long time. So big. Rudy's block, Niang, JC big shots, and Bogey huge. It's an interesting comment that it's a win over a top-tier team. They were missing 4 of their players, and we were missing 2. It was like It's almost like you just equally distributed the pain along the way. Am I allowed to stop and mock them for a second?
Vince?
Yeah, wait. I have to stop and mock someone.
He's going to.
All right, sorry. They were taking cute little pictures, and if you don't mock them, then you're not really friends, right? Like if you're not talking trash. Our crowd chanting Bogey during his interview was the moment of the year for me. I think we would agree, and Bogey's sincerity was great. Would love to see the Clippers and Lakers on the opposite side of the bracket. We need that number 1 seed to make this happen. Go Knicks tonight. Yes, that is possible, and actually it got more likely tonight because the Clippers increased their chances for 3 tonight with Denver losing. Mm-hmm. The Lakers are now most likely 6 or 7 with Dallas beating Brooklyn last night, probably 6. But our latest score update from Portland is they're within 1 point of each other with 2 minutes left in the third. So it is all nutty. There's not a lot of questions. How does Bogey keep the extra shots attempts when Mike and Don come back? There's the big question, Ron. What do you got?
Yeah, big question, and it's going to be tough. Strictly because Donovan averages 19 shots a game, and Conley averages the same amount of shots a game as Boyan, about 12. So I don't expect him to get that many shots, but he just as efficient with the shots and the opportunities that he gets, and you won't even know the difference.
Can I present it this way is what I think the value is? We now, as a game goes on, I think can go to Bogey. So if if Donovan and Mike are on the floor and the floor is spaced and he has the matchup and he has Michael Porter Jr., we're comfortable enough you can just rely on Bogey and run it through Bogey. And Donovan and Mike have been watching. They now have to say, you know what, fine, go, you're back. You can have it. And so I think there's a level where this team has enough camaraderie that they're willing to like let Bogey go.
So you're
and
talking about trust now, but if you're talking about going back to 12 shots a ball game, that just very well could happen. But it's going to be the quality of shots and you're to the point where you might not even notice that he's getting 2 shots less or 3 shots less if you understand what I mean, if he's exploding and he has runs and that type of thing, just like Conley have runs, and so with Donovan.
And playoff basketball, frankly, gets to be much more matchup based. Where's Michael Porter Jr.? Where's James Harden? Who are we going to go find to go after? Colton says, "Oh my gosh, I happened to pull this up. You haven't lived until you've turned on the TV volume and listened to Locke and Boone." Thank you, we appreciate that. Is it a bad to think that injuries are benefiting Bogey and helping his confidence a lot? In the end, will these injuries have him ready to take the team to the next level in playoff time with Don and Mike back?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question the injuries have helped Bogey. I got to tell you, though, the injury report that Donovan's not playing again or not being reevaluated in a week. Like, I mean, I'm done with thinking I'm going to see Donovan before the game 1 of the playoffs at best at this point. So I think that's a little discouraging, right? That these guys are going to have to try to rework themselves together in the playoffs.
Gives a pretty good idea of when the playoffs will start. Now the play-in games will start on the
So they go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The first round starts Saturday. So we end on Sunday in Sacramento,
which is
I have no idea.
16th.
Okay, so play-in games are Tuesday, Wednesday.
That'd be.
So the four first playing games will be mixed and matched Tuesday, Wednesday. Mm-hmm. The next playoff games are Thursday, Friday. Mm-hmm. The first round of the playoffs starts Saturday. So I think if you're the number 1 seed, you're guaranteed to not start probably till Sunday. Our first home game will be a Sunday here in all likelihood, which gives Donovan an extra 7 days. That's where the 1 seed, I think, buys you an extra day.
Right.
Or the 1 or 2 seed probably buys you the extra day. So tonight's win bought Donovan probably an extra day.
Absolutely.
All right, that wraps us up. That is POSTCAST. I'm David. He's Ron Boone. I'm David Locke. This is POSTCAST. Huge win. Have a good one.